A first quick call with our head coach, Mauro Biello, ahead of the Concacaf Men's Olympic qualifying with today's announcement for the 20-player squad for that tournament. Neil Davidson.
Okay, thank you. Mauro, what difficulty did you have in getting players released from European teams? Was it an issue with a lot of players that weren't released given the timing and the FIFA international window not covering the whole tournament?
Yeah, obviously there was some challenges with some players getting their release. It's only normal. It's a youth tournament, and they have the right to hold back their player based on the tournament starting prior to the FIFA window. One player in particular, Harry Payton, who's a starter for Ross County in the Scottish Premiership. They had 2 games lined up leading into our tournament and would overlap before the FIFA window. And at that point, they had the choice and did not release him to come in with the Olympic team. And look, I think it's normal. It's not something. It's like that for a lot of teams. When it's a youth tournament, the clubs have the final say on those decisions. Obviously, there were some players that, we were able to negotiate some releases, and we're a little bit more open to depending also the philosophy. Some clubs feel that it's a great opportunity, it could add value to their player, and all are all for it, right? And then there's some clubs, depending their situation, need that player, and then they'll make that decision not to release him.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. Derek, followed by Peter Galindo. Derek, go ahead.
Hi, Mauro. Thanks for taking the time out. Just wanted to ask you about this team. What can you tell us about this makeup of this team, and how do you like your chances of qualifying for the Olympics?
Yeah, I'm happy with this 20-man roster. I think I have a good balance of experienced players that have been in the environment, that have had men's national team experience. There's also a good mix of players, some youthful players that have done well in the MLS, that have shown some really good recent form last year. Tajan Buchanan, Michael Baldissimo. These are players that have had some success in the MLS. And so when I look at it, I think the work that we've done over the last 2.5 years and just really aligning the whole program has improved the depth chart, has given us this opportunity to be more competitive and be able to select players now that have had some experience but are also playing at good levels. So for me, the expectation is I think we have a team that can compete, and for sure that group is not going to be easy. There's going to be tough games. There's a lot of things that I got to deal with in terms of now getting players, getting the rhythm. Some factors with weather and altitude and all those things, but I'm expecting to grow throughout this tournament, and I think if we're able to grow throughout the tournament and give us the best shot to finish in the top 2 and then take that final game to get us to the Olympics.
Thanks, Mauro.
Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Peter, followed by John Molinaro.
Hi, Mauro. Thank you for taking the time to do this. One of the European-based players that you have at your disposal is Lucas Dias. How excited are you by him? How much are you going to be, relying on him during the tournament?
Yeah, look, very excited that Lucas has been able to join the team. This is a young player that we've been following for almost 6 months. I think he plays at a U23 level with Sporting, which is a good level. He has rhythm. He's been playing. He's doing well over there. Yes, it's a young player. It's a player that I've had some remote conversations with, gone over some of the tactics. It's a player that I feel could fit in and contribute to this team based on his qualities. It's a player that could play a final pass, that could receive a ball between lines, can connect triangles. We're excited about him. He's 18 years old. We know Portugal has also invited him into other youth teams. So for us to have him in and live our identity and be in the environment, I think it's important. But I also think he could contribute on the field for us in this tournament.
Thank you, Mauro.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. John Molinaro, followed by Thomas Neff. John?
Hi, Mauro. Thanks for doing this. Hope you and your family are staying safe. Two CPL players on the roster, David Norman Jr. and Jaguar. Can you just speak as to why they made the cut? What specifically have you seen from them over the last year? Maybe David not so much, but what have you seen from them that sort of led you to include them on your roster?
So I'll start with Thomas. So I've worked with Thomas before in Montreal, and for me, Thomas has youth international experience. He's been in these environments. He was captain U20. He's had 2 successful seasons. Well, I mean, the CPL had the tournament, but he had a very good tournament. He did really well for Ottawa previously. So it's a guy that's played with a lot of these players in the past. So I felt he's a competitor. He's someone that wants to win every game. So there's things that I know about Thomas that I felt that he could come in and contribute to this team. Now, for sure, the CPL players is the inactivity. Not playing a competitive game for almost 6 months. That definitely will be a challenge. But at the same time, we'll be working hard. We've worked remotely on getting them up to speed. And at the same time, it's an opportunity for him to show where he's at. The other player is David Norman. So David, I know David. We had brought him in the Toulon tournament, and David for us is also very versatile. We could use him in the back as a center back. We could use him as a holding midfielder. It's a player that brings us a certain experience also. And again, we're looking for these types of players that have that maturity, that have played pro, that have had different experiences, whether it's overseas or in different leagues. But at the same time, we know the type of people they are, the type of players they are, and I think if we combine that, they can have a successful tournament.
Great, thank you, and good luck in Mexico.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thomas Neff, followed by Jake from Fox Soccer.
Hi, thanks, Richard. Hi, Mauro. Thanks for taking the time. I wanted to ask you about Toronto FC. They didn't release any players, obviously having a COVID-19 outbreak, and they're getting ready for their MLS season down in Tampa soon. What kind of conversation did you have with Chris Armas and the coaching staff there, and obviously how different would the roster have been if guys like Liam Fraser and others would have been included? Thanks and good luck.
Yeah, obviously it's an unfortunate situation. I think with the pandemic, it's affected a lot of people, not only in sports and a lot of people around the world. And the first thing is hopefully everybody is safe over there because that's the most important thing. My conversations were with Chris and Ali, and I think they were very open, and we had good conversations going over different players, just exchanging different feedback on some players, working through the whole process, and then also understanding some of the players, some of their challenges. But it's unfortunate that the timing of all this with the TFC players, falls right in the middle of our tournament. And for me, it made it very difficult to select some of the TFC players, having some players short for the first game, and then arriving, not training for 2 weeks, having a quarantine when they arrive, and then throw them into a second game, basically a day after, which really didn't make much sense, which is unfortunate. And yes, it did impact a little bit the squad. For sure, some of those players that you mentioned have a certain experience and could have helped the team, the depth of this team. But I think we need to adapt and overcome. And this has been our lives, whether it's in soccer or in the real world. We need to adapt to all these situations. And in the end, I hope everybody is safe over there in Toronto, and hopefully we could qualify, and some of those players could have an opportunity to go to the Olympics in July.
Good, thank you. Jake with the next question, and then we'll have one final wrap up. But Jake.
Mauro, similarly along the lines of kind of squad building and picking the roster, the senior team obviously has qualifiers during the same window. That's something that not every team in Guadalajara is going to kind of have that balance. How much did that weigh into the selection for this roster versus kind of balancing the selection for the senior roster for those two qualifiers?
Yeah, I think I think this is the first time that this has ever happened where the senior team and the U23 are playing at the same time. But I'm just going to touch on the work and the alignment of this program in the last 2.5 years. It's really helped us now to navigate these types of situations, and it's deepened our player pool. And it's extremely important men's national team qualifier, and at the same time we're trying to qualify for an Olympics. But I'm confident with the pool of players. I think the team I put that I've selected is competitive, and like I said, it's an opportunity for us to do something special for this country, for this sport. Hopefully that both teams could have success, and we just continue on the momentum of Canadian soccer growing, and that's what we want.
Good, thank you very much. And Mauro, just the final question. I know you touched on it a little bit, but maybe just in terms of the big picture, the opportunity that lies ahead of this team, perhaps the first youth team to qualify for an Olympic Games. How important is it in terms of the Canadian team, the code of the team, and obviously the progress of the team through the Canadian system?
Yeah, look, like I said, I think the program has advanced tremendously over the last few years, and we feel that the game is moving forward in the right direction with our men's national team and some of the successes we've seen there. I think that's important to continue, and this is an opportunity for this Olympic team to just continuing that momentum. And we know when you look down the road of all the things that'll be happening, and obviously the World Cup in 2022, but 2026 in Canada. So there's a lot of positives going on at the moment, and for us, it's just a great opportunity to be able to qualify for a World Cup, and an Olympics. Will be just tremendous for the sport. Will be tremendous for all the young players that are striving to one day play for the national team, and they'll have that window of opportunity, but also the example and the legacy that will be left behind for all these kids in the future.
Thank you very much, everyone. We look forward to the Concacaf Olympic qualifying in the coming week, with matches to be broadcast in Canada on One Soccer. Merci beaucoup, Mauro.